How you doing, guys? Welcome back to Coffee and Juice. So once again, channel's been getting a lot of support. If you can consider subscribing, I would appreciate that. Because today it's my journey, but maybe tomorrow it becomes yours. So just try to help me out if you could. So now, this is a topic that I wanted to do for quite some time, but I really sometimes don't want this channel to become like the gloom and doom negativity channel. But at the same time, I feel like I'm entrusted to offer up certain information, especially if you're a newcomer to the region. So what I want to do right now is that I just want you to watch this.
A horrific motorbike accident. The injuries I sustained was obviously I've lost a leg, and this arm has the nerves that detached from my spinal cord, so obviously no movement in this arm. I've got some other small injuries, minor injuries. I had about 26 brain bleeds. And how it happened was I was going in between traffic at a red light, and a taxi driver pulled out in front of me, not sure how, but I slammed into the back of him, and then I obviously have flown off and lost the leg and got all my other injuries. I got resuscitated about 3 times, so it was a very close call. And what not to do in that situation, and how to avoid that situation is, first of all, I wouldn't go down traffic, and especially not speeding or anything. I wasn't speeding in the accident, but I just wouldn't go down traffic first of all, or I just stay aware about all my surroundings like I always was. But you just never know what's going to happen in that while riding a motorcycle.
So now that you guys all watch that very heartbreaking situation that this young man is in, the reason why I show you this is that, and remember, it's coming from a place of experience, is that part of me being attached to a training bureau of a law enforcement agency I was tasked with, it was a little bit against my will that they made me become a high risk driving instructor, as well as someone who understands the vehicles of the fleet of this particular agency. And one of those vehicles they called a scooter, which was a Piaggio. And if you're in Southeast Asia, you guys call it a motorbike. So now some of you are like, so what do you want me to do? How do you want me to get around? I mean, motorbikes are the way here. But now, could there be an alternative? Now, if you've been following the channel, I pretty much walk around everywhere. So now, is that feasible depending on what your lifestyle is? Maybe not. But if I need to go somewhere, there's a multitude of apps that are out there for your transportation. Some of them could be a little expensive, and some of them really aren't. So now a lot of you are like, you know what? I understand what this guy's saying. But one thing you have to realize is that, and one of the percentages, especially back home, take it easy, champ. You got a dog grilling me, is basically there's something called distracted driving. So the thing is that when you ride a bike and you speak to anybody who does the Harley, motorbikes, is that what happens is that no one has regard for people that really drive motorbikes or motorcycles. You'll hear it time and time again in LA, New York, and even out here. And also, let's couple that with the fact that people are driving around distracted the majority of the time. Who's playing music on their cell phone? Who's touching the screen? Who's got their head down? So the thing is that I always prefer, and remember, this channel, I always err on the side of caution. I'm not paranoid, but I don't take unnecessary risks. So now when I'm in the back seat of one of these Bolts, Ubers, right, and these Grab taxis, I always affix the rear seatbelt. And remember, if this guy gets into an accident, at least you have something between you and the road. Now, also in my former life, I went to something called accident investigation scenes. Now, normally when it's an accident investigation scene and you're probably screaming in traffic like, oh, I can't get down the street, everything's closed off, it's because someone is dead or they're likely to die from this particular accident. So now all I could say is that, look, you're big boys, you're big girls. You're going to do what you want. Do some of you wear the helmet out here? It's about 4,000 degrees right now. Some of you also want to look cool. And I get all that. I'm your friend. But at the same time, I can ride a bike. Don't get it twisted. I actually ride pretty good. I'm not the best, but I'm definitely above average on any bike that you put me on. But at the same time, I've been to these accident investigation scenes and I've seen some gruesome stuff. And also the people that didn't die. I mean, we used to call it like, road pizza. So there was one guy I remember in particular. He was an Indian gentleman and he had the pads on, like he had the whole suit on. This was in New York. It took 3 law enforcement officials and about 4 firemen to hold this guy down so we can put him on a gurney and get him to the hospital, that he was in so much pain. For me, when I saw that, I was like, you know what? Get a car, get a van, as much as you might like bikes. Us as men, we like our toys and you like to put that in the arsenal. But I always go back to this. It's a little bit of my father saying, he goes, there's nothing in between you and the road. So if you get ejected off the bike, or like this young man, what happened, I guess he might have, either got sideswiped or he rear-ended, people stopped short, etc. This was the, particular instance here. But let's also talk about this. So now, obviously, you see me walk around and, some of you in the comment section be like, well, yeah, you could get hit by a car. That's 100% true. But I would argue that statistically, me walking around or me going in a Grab or a Bolt or an Uber, I'm kind of maximizing my odds regarding getting hurt in that way. And also, once again, I don't do any vlogging at night. So I'm a pretty visible target. So now, if we talk about something called white lining. Now, if you don't know what that is, what this individual just said, if you watch the video again, or maybe you didn't catch what he said, is that if there's, let's say, 3 lanes of traffic, there's a car, there's the break in the road, there's a car, break in the road. So obviously, if you have a motorcycle or a motorbike and it's standstill traffic, you want to negotiate this particular roadway in such a way. So, what happens is that, sometimes some of you are more reckless than others and you try to scoot in between the brake lines or the white lines. But what happens is that it really doesn't take much speed, that if someone's not paying attention and wants to kind of merge into a lane and you fall off that bike, especially with no helmet, once again, it could be catastrophic, like you just saw here in the video. So all I want you to do is think about, alternative means of transportation. And also, the reason why I'm doing this is that a lot of you are experienced on the bike. I get it. All right. So, but think about it like this. This guy may not agree, this dog right here. So the thing is that you're 25, 29. It's your first time in the region, male or female. And you're like, you know what? Everyone's doing it. Everyone seems to ride a motorbike. Bali, here, Vietnam, whatever it might be. And it seems to be a breeze. But the problem is that you don't hear about all the deaths and accidents. So what we used to call it is that, especially the guys that were more elevated regarding teaching motorcycles and motorbikes, when there was a student / entry level or, trainee, is that be like, yeah, I don't know, that guy's kind of shaky on the bike. So basically, whoever that was would fail because there was a measure of responsibility that, listen, even though in this day and age, it seems that everyone's passing, but they would say, listen, there was an opportunity to have a 2-wheel scooter, which is your motorbike. And then there was a 3-wheel, which is something that obviously it doesn't take too much skill to ride this bike. It has more balance or stability. So they would graduate them to that. So now, listen, just keep it in mind. I know, like, when you watch other channels, mostly everything's being highlighted in a positive way. They want you to click. And me personally, Obviously, I want you to support the channel. But at the same time, if I could save one person or two people for saying, you know what, maybe this guy's got something, I'll just walk everywhere. I'll plot my stay in the vicinity of things that I like. And if I got to take a long haul, I'll just get a grab or a bolt. So coffee and juice, I hope you got something out of it. Keep yourself safe. Wear a helmet. I know it's hot, but take care of yourself, all right? We'll talk soon. Thanks.